Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5.
Somebody, I may be on welfare, but I am somebody.
The US civil rights leader Jesse Jackson has died at the age of 84, according to his family. Our father was a servant leader, not only to our family, but to the oppressed, the voiceless, and the overlooked, they said.
Time has come. We must leave racial battleground and come to economic common ground and moral higher ground. America, our time has come.
In the 1960s, Jackson fought for civil rights alongside Martin Luther King Jr., whose daughter remembers Jackson as a gifted negotiator. US President Donald Trump also paid tribute, calling Jackson a force of nature with lots of personality, grit, and street smarts. Former Vice President and presidential candidate Kamala Harris described Jackson as one of America's greatest patriots. One of the most prominent politicians in the 80s and 90s, he twice ran for president but failed to get the Democratic nomination. However, he very much paved the way for Barack Obama's nomination in 2008.
I don't think anyone captured the spirit of America like Reverend Jackson, and he took the movement north. I think Jesse Jackson was the link from that generation of King and them all the way to my generation, and then the generation behind me.
A law was passed in Congress to require that all the files that have anything to do with them be released.
Hillary Clinton has accused US President Donald Trump's administration of a cover-up over its handling of files related to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
In fact,
the former US Secretary of State was speaking in Berlin, where she attended the annual World Forum. The White House insisted that by releasing the files, they have done more for the victims than Democrats ever have. Millions of files relating to the late pedophile were released by the US Department of Justice earlier this month. At the time, the Deputy Attorney General said 3 million pages were not released.
what we're seeing, I think it's fair to say, is a continuing cover-up by the Trump administration. In fact, when the Attorney General testified last week, it was quite a scene because she refused to answer questions. She diverted attention away from the matters at hand. She refused to look at the survivors. So there's something about this administration's attitude toward this, which I think really leads us to conclude they have something to hide.
Russian and Ukrainian delegations are meeting in Geneva for the latest round of US brokered talks, a week before the 4th anniversary of Moscow's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Expectations for a breakthrough remain low, as Moscow has not wavered from its demands for Ukrainian territory. Russia's strikes on Ukraine are continuing on a nightly basis, further damaging the country's already battered power grid as sub-zero temperatures continue. Hours before the delegations met in Switzerland, Moscow carried out a large combined aerial attack on Ukraine, hitting 12 regions with 400 drones and almost 30 missiles. France says it has released an oil tanker suspected of being part of Russia's sanctions-busting shadow fleet after its owner paid a fine. French Foreign Minister Jean-Noël Barrot said the vessel, named Grinch, was leaving French waters on Tuesday, having paid a penalty of several million euros. The tanker was seized by French forces in the Mediterranean in January and then diverted to the port city of Marseille. It had set sail from Murmansk in northern Russia and was flying under a Comoros flag. Moscow's so-called shadow fleet is a clandestine network of tankers used to evade Western sanctions on Russian oil exports by using aged tankers with obscure ownership or insurance. And millions of people around the world are celebrating the start of the Lunar New Year. Here, the famous New Year's parade taking place in Hong Kong. The Lunar New Year, which coincides with the first new moon of the lunar calendar, is a 15-day festival held between the 21st of January and the 20th of February every year. In accordance with the Chinese zodiac, this year marks the year of the fire horse. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.